But I tell you, there was a very angry mother, had nothing to do with you-know-who, but might as well incorporate it. She was very angry. She's in Tulsa, and she was outraged when her 16-year-old daughter came home from a school trip to a local clinic with a birth control implant. Now, the people of reproductive age do not need parental consent to get birth control under federal law. But should the school have taken them to a clinic? I mean, I don't know why they took them to the clinic.
I don't know why either.
I understand they went to the clinic. But if she felt, I mean, listen, I'm happy if a kid realizes that she needs something, and if she is of legal age and she can go get it, I'd rather she did that. Right. You know, I'd rather she did it.
That argument I could see for condoms, but for when you're talking about an implant that you could potentially have medical side effects, let's say she gets an infection, let's say she has a negative reaction to it.
I'm going to tell you, this little girl, I'm sure this girl went and figured out what she needed and went and got it. Now, I am a huge fan of any kid who decides they need something because they're doing this. Because we bitch at kids all the time about being sexual and over-sexual and doing this, and boys don't, you know, think they need to carry condoms, so it's always on the girl. So I'm happy that this girl, I'm going to assume that this girl did her homework and got something, and then told her mom that she
I would hope also that they would counsel her about STDs are not prevented with the implant.
Well, I'm pretty sure that that's what the... I mean,
a statement from the principal, just to clarify. This was not a field trip. Youth Services of Tulsa does an annual in-service on sex education. They offer students an opportunity to contact them on their own for more information. The parent gave her child permission to leave the school. Under Title X, once young people are at the clinic and are of reproductive age, they can make decisions on their own without parental consent.
I'm horrified by it. Listen, I don't think the school has any place taking these kids to a clinic. And when you're talking about an implant, for a 16-year-old, as a parent, you're responsible for these children. They're on your health care plans. This is something that needs to happen at home, not with the school. I mean, if my kid comes home with an implant, you know,
if your kid comes home with an implant, it's because she couldn't say to you, this is what I need. I'm sorry. As a parent whose child had a baby early, I can tell you, you really do want them to be responsible. And because you can talk to a teenage girl till you're blue in the face, and you'll find this out.
I'm sure I will.
You'll find this out. You can talk to them till you're blue in the face, and if they've made up their mind that they're going to do something, you want them to be smart enough to know you don't want to get pregnant. You do want to know about STDs, which they will not teach in school. They don't teach sex education in school, and that's part of the problem.
And they shouldn't be taking, if they don't teach sex ed in schools, they don't need to be taking these kids to class.
But you were talking about how upset. Yeah, that's what it was for.
It's called an in-service sex education.
When I took birth control pills, I took them when I was 18 years old, I got deathly sick. I had a bad reaction to the hormones. My parents knew, my mom knew, but if I had gotten sick and hadn't been the type of person to talk to my parents, I may have been going through that. I had to be taken off that pill because it was a medical risk for me to be on that pill. I was 18 years old. And my mom knew about it. If I had been 16 and afraid to talk to my mother and had been experiencing those symptoms and didn't go to a doctor, I could have had a serious
I was put on the birth control pill for a hormonal thing as well. I was fine reacting to it, but I think the other thing is possibly unforeseen problems.
A medical implant into your child's body, the school takes them there?
We just want to clear up the fact that the school did not take this young lady unbeknownst to her parent. The parent gave permission to go to this clinic.
Right. As part of the field trip.
And as part of the field trip. And one would assume that the clinic that they went to, since it was all about sex education, had all of these conversations.
Well, clarify, his statement says this was not a field trip.
It wasn't a field trip.
It's an in-service sex education.
Yes.
Yeah, but I mean, so they went there for a class, an in-service class. I can't imagine that a parent would think that their kid would get a medical implant during a class.
Let's talk about the medical implant, because you're talking about like it's this big machine. It's not a giant
This was a Norplant, right?
Doesn't it put estrogen into your...
Yes.
Yeah, it does.
And the capsules, there have been many lawsuits because the capsules are exceedingly difficult to remove, and it can sometimes cause terrible side effects.
Well, now that she's made the relationship with the clinic that she's gone to, they will help her through whatever comes up. We just wanted to point out that it wasn't something that was done against the parent's permission, and that at a certain age, my earring fell off. It always does. But at a certain age, 16, federal law says they don't have to come to you for this. So that's what we're saying. She would not have signed the paper.
Watch that law. Watch that law. Just keep an eye on that law. That's one will be gone very soon.
The federal law, which is remarkable to me.
Well, I don't like that law. Well, it shouldn't be given the conversation that we had several weeks ago about what parents found in the bathrooms, in the girls' bathrooms, and the boys.
Which she also didn't like. At my kids' school, I found condoms.
You know,
in the high school bathroom at the school.
No, in a basket.
It was free
for all. It was in a basket.
It was just out there.
But because what parents don't want to talk about, that is a reality.
Do you realize
kids are having sex?
Yeah. Do you realize they're doing it?
If you don't give them the proper information, they're going to do it. And you're going to end up in a situation you don't want to be in, and parents don't want to do that.
Those are two different conversations, though.
No, they're one conversation.
But there could be people who could understand, like me, for example. I can understand having condoms available. I worked in schools. They are having sex.
In the high school bathroom?
They're having sex at a very young age.
Middle school.
6th grade, 7th grade. That's happening. But that's different to me than a hormone implant, only because of the medical side effects that you could be predisposed to as a minor for your own body.
You're not walking again, you're at a clinic, you have made the relationship with the clinic, and you're dealing with the doctor. Her walking into the bathroom and seeing this flipped her out because it doesn't occur to her.
I would have preferred a mint.
It doesn't occur to her that in middle school, this is happening.
They're having sex in 6th and 7th grade. They are.
Well, in the bathroom. Yes, they are.
They are.
Not all kids, not all.
You know, you have to... You know, I mean...
What's happening with the world?
The world? Have you watched television? Have you watched television? Have you seen commercials?
We are encouraging. My little bubble.
Well, your bubble is busted.
Is an illusion.
I don't know. I have to say, though, I don't think it's great that kids are having sex.
No, it's not. But it's happening.
It's not great, but you don't want them unarmed. You need to tell. That's the thing I'm talking about.
But I don't want to think that it's a great thing that they're doing that.